Yep. He's here. Sorry for the long delay. Okay. Dr. Coopers. Hey, how are you? The lawyers will be chatting with you about when we're going to take your testimony tomorrow. And also, in fairness to the state, I think it's appropriate for them to be able to talk to you for a bit of time tomorrow morning. Sorry for the time delay, but it'll be about 7:30 or 8 o'clock your time, because they're certainly entitled to find out what your opinions might be and what you base your opinions on.
Okay.
It might take them from now until then just to read through this curriculum vitae. So, but they're certainly entitled to find out what your testimony would be and how you reached those conclusions. Okay? So thank you so much for your patience today.
All right.
All right, let's leave that. Now, so tomorrow I expect to hear from Maldonado around 1:30. If we can track the counseling down, I expect to hear from the doctor about 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Roughly, we'll take his testimony. Tomorrow morning at 8:30, we're going to talk to the school counselor. Now, in chambers, y'all indicated to me that you want to put the detective on the witness stand to introduce a number of things. Just have that right here, including the baby monitor photos, the jail call records, some of the crime scene photos. Now, I've looked at 750 of those photos. Are they from those photos that were taken at the scene? Is that right?
It's my understanding that they're not.
Just these were those photos that we showed at sidebar the last hearing that were scene photos that were also taken at the same time Detective Wolofsky was there.
How many photos do you anticipate putting in?
May I just count them 1 second, Judge? I tried to narrow it. Oh, and there was one other image that I forgot about when you just asked, which was the image that was sent by the defendant to his friends before he called the police.
Okay.
Which also.
So we're talking about half a dozen.
Hold on, 1, 2, 3,
10 photographs and 2 poster boards.
Just to be clear, these are not photos.
Okay, so there's 9 photographs from the scene. Then there's the one snip that I mentioned about the size of, which was not, and then there's the one photograph. So it's 11 photographs in total, 9 from the scene, and then the 2 others that we discussed, plus the 2 boards which have the 2 photographs.
Have you seen them, Mr. Lewis?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. I'm assuming they can be authenticated by a detective. What objections would you have to them?
Okay. Which one do we want to address first?
Why don't we start with the baby monitor photos, since those were 1B and 1C for identification purposes. I have that here.
I'm going to take another one.
Sure.
Judge, so I guess the first one, which depicts the victim identified 1B. Right.
You can show it to me.
Okay. May I approach?
Sure, just show it from there. Maybe if I can see it. All right. Your objection to this is what?
Judge, I'm not sure what the relevance of that picture is.
Me either.
Okay, Judge. So we believe that all of the evidence of the crime, specifically how it was committed, using the amount of force and physicality that was required, in addition to the degree of premeditation and planning that went into this first-degree murder, are all highly relevant to several of the factors that Your Honor had expressed interest in from the evidentiary hearing that was had in Jacksonville. First, the physicality. A lot of the physical evidence goes to show the strength, what kind of force it takes to get through bone, muscle, other tissue, things of that nature. And then secondly, the premeditation and the planning is relevant in several ways to if Your Honor does indeed have the discretion to do what the defense is asking and remand him to DJJ, which the state believes is in question. The biggest question will be at the end of it is whether or not, both for the safety of Mr. Rosa, because he'll be among 20 3 or so other juveniles of the same age that he's essentially with now, who are loose and in that open area that we discussed, where fights as that DJJ chief, I believe it was chief or captain, had testified happened regularly. Danger to him, but also, frankly, danger to all of them, especially considering that this is a sharp force injury case where literally anything from a pen or something else can be used and quickly used to harm other people. So there's a huge public safety issue. And there's also a plotting, planning, premeditation issue, which can't be seen from the outside. There were no signs before this case that there was anything amiss with Mr. Rosa, so I don't think that it would be safe for all of the other juveniles that are housed in the Department of Juvenile Justice. When we're talking about, we tried to keep the photographs as narrow. There's 9 of them, even though there's 46 sharp force injuries here.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
So here's my thought. This is relevant to some degree because it shows the crime scene, and it sort of opens up what happened there, if you will. Don't think it's got a lot of relevance, but I'm not really concerned about a 403 analysis because I'm presumed to be able to give it the weight that it deserves. It has been provided in discovery, I gather. Is that true?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so under 2.420, it's a public record of this court. I don't think it falls under any of the confidential provisions of 2.420. So I'm going to let it in for what weight it is. I'll look at it and see if it has any weight at all. All right. Any other specific exhibits you want me to get a look at?
Just obviously with the context of this testimony.
1C, what has been marked for ID as 1C.
And for the record, states Exhibit 1B marked for ID.
Not admitted yet.
Not this one, Judge?
In a minute. And then the second one is the one that purports to show Mr. Rosa who was his mother. That if this time stamp is to be accurate, not exactly 11 o'clock at night. All right. And your objection to that, sir?
Fails 3. It's extremely prejudicial to Mr. Rosa. That's 1. 2, I think there may be an ID issue here as to who that is in the photo. So I'm not sure how they will establish that.
I don't know how you're going to authenticate it either.
Right.
Judge, the testimony of the detective who was a part of all of this investigation, who was on the scene from the beginning, when the only people in that apartment were a 2-week-old at the time baby, a dead person, and the defendant. There was a ring camera that the detective can testify about on the outside.
All right, I'll read the reference to authenticate.
Right, and his statement, Judge, which makes all of that.
Okay. What else do you object to?
1F, 403. Judge, the defendant's physicality can be established however they like. However, that picture, that photograph is prejudicial. It shows Mr. Rosa in what appears to be in cuffs. It's not very clear. And the prejudice outweighs whatever relevant value they seek to introduce. I'm not sure which officer is in that photograph. I don't know his size. I don't know any of that information. And I don't think that they plan to have him testify as to that either.
Well, actually, Detective Bilowski was present. That was taken off of a snippet of his own video, and he knows who those people are and their size. We can also see it in conjunction with the defendant.
I'll
We
do
can
the
see
403
here.
question if properly authenticated. What else?
Are you going to do that for all 403 objections?
Everything. All 403 objections, I'll deal with it because it's presumed that I have the ability to give it the appropriate weight. It's not like you put it in front of a jury who's going to see somebody in cuffs or might be inflamed by a photo. I'm presumed by